I love Frozen. When I saw it for the first time when I was 13, I was immediately obsessed. Every day the next summer I watched and rewatched it. I memorized the lyrics to all the songs and learned every single piece of trivia about the movie and its making I could find on the internet. I even wrote a fanfiction sequel, in which Hans had fire powers, Anna had earth powers, and Hans returned to Arendelle to enact his revenge on Arendelle, with the help of his older brother, the King. Then the Snow Queen, who is Elsa's aunt, showed up to take over Arendelle in the final act. Well, let's just say it was a mess. Needless to say, I've been looking forward to the sequel since it was announced in 2015. Then the teaser trailer finally dropped. I got hyped. It was so much more than anything I'd wished for. Then a few weeks ago, the official trailer dropped, and we got our first real look at the plot. I have a lot of thoughts. Instead of breaking down each shot, which a million other YouTubers have already done, I'll assume you've already watched the trailers and know the basics of what I'm talking about. I'm going to get straight into my theorization. By far the biggest mystery in these trailers are these mysterious crystals which are etched with something that looks like Norwegian runes. The Super Carlin brothers have already made an entire video about what these runes are, and I think they're on point. Before the Super Carlin brothers put out their video on the topic, I already thought that each rune represented one of the 4 elements, which in turn represented the 4 seasons. The 4 elements are earth, spring, fire, summer, air, fall, and water, or in the case of Frozen, ice, winter. As the Super Carlin brothers pointed out, the first promotional teaser showcased a snowflake with 4 sides. The thing is, snowflakes don't have 4 sides, they have 6. I knew there had to be a bigger explanation for why there are only 4 sides to the snowflake, so I assigned a season and element to each of the symbols. This rune was assigned to spring, since the symbol mirrored the designs found on many Arendellan flags that are meant to represent flowers. To me, this rune looked like a rising sun, so I assigned it to summer. But then we got into a bit of a problem, because the other 2 runes didn't fit so well with the seasons. This rune obviously looks like a teardrop, so you would think it represents water. But I couldn't see how a diamond could represent air, so I assigned the diamond one to water and assigned the teardrop to fall. After all, you could say the teardrop looked like a leaf. Still, it wasn't a perfect fit. But then came the Super Carlin brothers, and they solved the problem for me. I was looking at the problem the wrong way. The symbols weren't based on the seasons, but Norwegian runes.
Our first time around, we interpreted this top left rune, Elsa, as ice, and I continue to stand by that because it fits perfectly. And this is the one that we did correctly interpret as the Thursiaz rune. We just took the wrong interpretation where we thought giants, which, to be fair, there are giants. But this rune can also represent fire. We have another one here that we had previously interpreted as the Inga's rune, which represented Elsa's isolation. But the diamond rune can also be the Ingwas, which represents the earth god. I wasn't even surprised at all when we looked up alternate meanings to the Tiwaz rune. Initially, we assumed that this was representative of the sacrifice that Anna makes at the end of the first film. And indeed it could be, but the Tiwaz rune also has another meaning: sky god.
In the first trailer, we see this strange shot of Anna running out to see the levitating runes. On its own, the shot is mysterious and confusing, but luckily we get context for it in the second trailer. We see Elsa having some kind of vision where she sees this beacon of light that takes the form of obstacles she will later face in the movie. It culminates when the light disappears, Elsa chasing after it, and the crystals are formed around her, seemingly from her. The light first appears as a horse, which Elsa sees in the opening scene of the second trailer, and then morphs into giants, which we see at the end of the second trailer. Elsa seems almost entranced by this light. When it disappears, she's distraught, and during her vision, she seems overjoyed. It's almost uncharacteristic of her to be this excited. While Elsa is outgoing with her sister, otherwise she's reserved with her emotions, more regal. It's almost like the vision casts a spell on her. I don't necessarily think that this is a bad spell, but it could certainly create some conflict. Which leads us to... While Elsa is almost overly enthusiastic about her vision and her upcoming journey, Anna seems a lot more cautious. I mean, just look at their expressions in the poster for the movie. Elsa's expression is confident, while Anna's is much more concerned. This also seems out of character for the usual bombastic, enthusiastic Anna, which makes me think that there's more going on here than at first glance. In nearly every shot of the trailer, Anna does not seem to be herself. She's scared, cautious, a sort of foil for Elsa's excitement. We saw this dynamic between the sisters explored in Frozen Fever. Elsa was overexcited for Anna's birthday, determined to make it the best day ever. But Anna was afraid that Elsa was pushing herself too hard and needed to rest because she was catching a cold. The creators of the movie spoke on this themselves. Co-director Chris Buck said this to Fandango. In Frozen, she had such a dramatic journey, and at the end she's just starting to feel like she can open up and have some fun again. That's what was really good about the short Frozen Fever. We could have fun with Elsa, and that personality you will see in the next one. I think that after her vision, Elsa is going to be excited to go on this journey and discover the origins of her powers, but Anna's going to be a lot more cautious. After all, this is a dangerous journey Elsa wants to go on, and they have little to no idea what they're getting themselves into. She wants to protect her sister, who is almost too eager to go on this journey. We know from the description of the YouTube video that this movie is going to be exploring the origins of Elsa's powers. Why was Elsa born with magical powers? The answer is calling her and threatening her kingdom. Together with Anna, Kristoff, Olaf, and Sven, she'll set out on a dangerous but remarkable journey. In Frozen, Elsa feared her powers were too much for this world. In Frozen 2, she must hope they are enough. Elsa's powers were easily the biggest mystery of the first movie. Hundreds of theories have been made about them, from her inheriting them from her father, to a complicated ancestry combined with planetary alignment, resulting in Elsa's ice powers. I'm super excited they'll be exploring them in Frozen 2, but I don't think it'll be anything like what has been already theorized. I'm not sure where her powers will ultimately be from, but I do have ideas. Elsa's powers definitely have their origins in something related to those Rune Crystals. In the official trailer, we see a shot of young Elsa and her mother looking out at the northern lights, which leads me to believe two things. One, the movie will include flashbacks to Elsa's childhood. We will see her parents explaining Elsa's powers, which will gain a new context in Elsa's current adventure. 2, Elsa's powers are somehow connected to the Northern Lights. The Northern Lights have always been associated with magic in Frozen. Anna says, "The sky is awake," to Elsa in the beginning of the movie, and Grandpappy uses the Northern Lights to visualize his warnings to Elsa. All the trolls have these things called fire crystals, which are the colors of the Northern Lights, which leads me to believe that the trolls actually control the Northern Lights, or at least are somehow connected to them. I'm not sure if the Northern Lights will tie directly into the origins of Elsa's powers, but I definitely think they'll be associated with magic and nature in the movie. I think it's very possible that Elsa actually has all 4 elemental powers, as the Super Carlin brothers theorized, and that throughout the course of the movie, each of the elements will begin to manifest in her as she discovers more about her origins. Now that we've gone over my basic thoughts from the teaser and official trailer, we can finally get into my actual theory. The movie will open with everything well in Arendelle, our characters happy and the land peaceful, until Elsa wakes up one day in the middle of the night. She sees this beacon of light, which leads her to the courtyard, and there the light transforms. Elsa sees a vision, the one she sees in the trailer. The light entrances her, bringing her joy, and when it disappears, Elsa is momentarily distraught. Suddenly around her, from her, Rune Crystals form all around Arendelle. Meanwhile, Anna wakes up to see Elsa is missing. In her search for her sister, she sees the crystals and runs outside, worried and confused. Anna finds her sister, who rambles on about this glorious vision she just had, and how they must embark on a mission immediately. Perhaps in the vision, Elsa heard a voice that warned her of oncoming doom for Arendelle, and the world if Elsa doesn't go on this journey. Anna tells her sister that they should at least wait till morning when they can talk to Kristoff about this. The sisters argue on whether or not they're going to go, and when. Anna is scared of the potential danger of this journey, and Elsa suddenly awakening in her powers, but Elsa is excited and adamant they must leave as soon as possible. Kristoff wakes up and reasons that they should see the trolls. The people of Arendelle have started to stir as they notice the rune crystals around the town. Anna agrees with Kristoff, but before they can convince Elsa to come with them, they hear a rumbling. The trolls come rolling out of the mountains. They sense this awakening in Elsa's powers and immediately began their journey to Arendelle to warn Elsa and Anna and explain what's going on. The trolls explain this new danger to Elsa and Anna, and warn them that this journey will be dangerous, especially for Elsa. Anna, her worries confirmed but knowing they must leave, declares her loyalty to Elsa, that she'll protect her sister no matter what. The next morning, Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, and Olaf embark on their journey north. At this point, my theory gets a lot more fuzzy. At some point, the gang will be separated, perhaps in this moment when a magical beacon of fire catches a forest in flame. We see Kristoff save Anna, but we can see that in the background Elsa is left behind. Perhaps this is when Elsa starts to realize that Anna was right, and that this journey is a lot more dangerous than she thought it would be. Maybe the sisters got into an argument, and Elsa in her unchecked rage accidentally let loose a flame that began to set the forest on fire, and she was left incapacitated from the sudden outburst. Maybe this is the first element other than ice/water that manifests inside her, and when she's unable to control it, her old insecurities about her powers start to return to her. A lot of what we see in this trailer remains very mysterious. I can't quite order any of the shots chronologically, least of all when our gang approaches the four Stonehenge-like rocks. This could go one of two ways. Either they find this very early on in the movie and the rocks mark the beginning of their adventure, or it could happen towards the end of the film, after they have gone on all sorts of adventures and have reunited with each other, finally having found what they were seeking this entire time. I honestly don't know which is more likely. And that is where I'll leave off. There is so much left unexplained, like Elsa attempting to run across the ocean waves, or Anna and Olaf falling down that underground waterfall. My thoughts are that these might take place while the gang is separated, after the fire incident in the forest, but other than that, I'm really not sure. Maybe Elsa is trapped on this dark, rocky beach. Maybe the shot we see in the teaser when Anna is all alone in that cave takes place after her and Olaf's fall, and the two are separated, or Anna thinks Olaf might have melted in the water. I don't know. My question for you guys is this. When in the movie do you think the gang will walk through the ruined Stonehenge? Is there anything I missed in my theorizing that you'd like to add? Let me know in the comments, and you'll see me next time.